God,
grant me the serenity
to accept the things I cannot change,
the courage to change the things I can,
and the wisdom to know the difference.
In this episode of Overcoming Addiction, we will be discussing the new Malden Warming Center. Tonight's guests are Malden Mayor Gerry Christenson, Pastor Gerry Whetstone from the First Church of the Nazarene, Pastor Emily Hamilton of the First Lutheran Church, and Karen Hayes, Director of Human Services and Community Outreach for the City of Malden. Together we can make a difference. Here's your host, Paul Hammersley.
And welcome to another episode of Overcoming Addiction. And I'm also the president of Malden Overcoming Addiction. And this month, we have a very special show. Malden has recently opened up a warming center, and we're going to get into what that looks like, what it's about. And it's a very important topic here in the city that we want to look at. And I have two special guests with me tonight. I have Mayor Christenson, and I have Pastor Gerry Whetstone.
Hey, Paul.
Just to start the show, I do want to read the mission statement of the Warming Center, and then we'll go right into it. The Malden Warming Center, it's a temporary night center for those that are homeless to be welcomed and to find a place of warmth during the harshest winter months. The Malden Warming Center seeks to serve those experiencing homelessness by providing a safe shelter and warmth, recognizing each person's inherent dignity in unique circumstances. So, with that being said, Pastor Gerry, what exactly is the Warming Center, and who does it serve?
Well, you read it in the statement there, that essentially it's the fact that there's a segment of our society that's often overlooked. They're put into a category, the homeless, and we're often forgotten, but we haven't forgotten them. As a local church, we went to the book of Genesis, and in the book of Genesis there's this conversation between Cain, a gentleman that killed his brother Abel, and God. And in that conversation, Cain asked God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And we believe that God's response to that is yes. And so the Warming Center is about being our brother's keeper. Our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, that these are individuals, these are people that are finding themselves in circumstances where they need some assistance and some help. And during these harsh winter months in New England, when we are all in a warm place, they have no warm place. So that's what the Warming Center is all about. It's a place where they can come, find warmth and safety, and that we are a people that are practicing hospitality. We're inviting them in and making them as welcome as possible so that they can be comfortable and safe for an evening.
So on a typical night, can you tell me I think we've been at it 4 weeks now.
Yeah, actually in the 5th week, yeah.
Okay, so where did it look like from week 1 to 5 as far as how many guests you may have?
Yeah, well, I actually started out a little slow because this is a historic thing. There's never been a center in Malden. There's no shelter, there's no center, there is really nothing for the homeless in the city of Malden prior to this, nor in the surrounding cities, interestingly enough. And so we were starting out brand new. So we started out with, we averaged 6 the first week. The next week we jumped up to 13. And then our highest number has been 25 guests. And we are now, over the 5 months, averaging 15. So we have these, and they break down to just about 50-50 between male and female. And their ages range from anywhere from, I think the oldest is 78, down to in their late 20s.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And
it is.
so I guess I want to back up a little bit, and Mayor, this question's for you. When did the idea come about to start the center, and how long of a process was it to open the doors? Because from what I remember hearing, this was being talked about for a little while before you guys were able to pull it off.
I would say as long as I've been mayor, probably since 2012, when one of the first things we want to do was keep the lines of communication open with our religious leaders. So we established these quarterly meetings where we get together and talk about the issues of the day and try to take on, projects to benefit the city. So I think it was 2013 that this topic came about, once we got established. And one of the things that we did was care packages. So the Salvation Army, along with the First Church of the Nazarene and others, put together these packages that would be in all of our police cruisers. And if they saw someone outside, they would provide them with socks and some other necessities to try and get them through the night. We were so pleased with that project that we wanted to do more, and that's when this idea came about, led by Pastor Whetstone, Pastor Emily, Pastor McFeeters, and others, to take it up a notch and actually have a warming center. So the pastor worked closely with Karen Hayes, our Human Services Director, as well as our Police Chief Kevin Molis, and I would say within 6 months we had this up and running.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So just so we understand it, it's a warming center and it's not a shelter.
That's correct.
So there's no beds in there, but folks could technically fall asleep, in the chair they were in, but there are no beds.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So again, from what I've seen, this looks like a total community effort. Would you like to talk about how the community has come together in the support for this cause? And I'll take this answer from both of you, like one at a time. Like, what I've seen so many community members as far as counselors. I've seen just countless people down there serving and helping.
Yeah, I know for me, when I saw the images from the first training, I was impressed with the number of people that turned out. And it was right around the holiday season, so you think people might have waited till the holiday season was over, but they didn't. And then you might have thought, okay, that's the first training, so it'll start to peel off a little bit, but it didn't. Actually, the numbers look consistent at all of the trainings, and so that's a testament to Pastor Whetstone and others that have put together a really good program. So that is what has impressed me throughout this process, is that the community has come together. And typically on a project like this, you might have people disagreeing or having a different way to do it, or they might want to start over, but none of that happened here. I think we haven't had one call or email or suggestion that we change what has been happening at the First Church of the Nazarene.
And it really has, from the very beginning, when we had gotten to the place where we believed that it was important for us to do this, and we had theological reasons for it, but we knew that the city was very interested in it. I reached out to the mayor and said, we're ready to go, and then he put me in contact with a couple of people. And we had 4 organizational meetings, and in those organizational meetings we had many various faith groups and other churches represented. We had city officials represented, we had civic organizations represented, and we had many other organizations, such as Elliott had representation there to help us build it. And then we were able to get information from other warming centers in the greater Boston area that were able to help feed, because I wanted to make sure we did our homework and that it was done right and properly. And so we drew from a lot of resources. And so I would say in our organizational meetings, in those 4 organizational meetings, there was at least 15 people that were around the table from all different areas. And the city's support has been magnificent. And as I said, the faith groups and civic leaders have gotten the word out as well. We're up to, the last count I saw, we're up to 101 volunteers.
Wow. Yeah. So talk a little bit, you just mentioned, I heard food.
Yes.
So people can actually get a little something to eat once they get down there. So I don't think we gave the address yet. So it's at the Church of the Nazarene, correct?
Yep, it's housed at the Church of the Nazarene, which is 529 Eastern Avenue. And we do provide a light meal for them. It's more like a soup or a warm. When they arrive, there's always warm drinks. There's warm drinks throughout the night. There's also snacks, high energy snacks that they can have. But we do provide a soup or a stew. Every once in a while, somebody brings in something different. Like one night, I think it was Anthony's had an event, and there was a lot of leftovers, and they heard about the warming center, and all of a sudden, pasta shows up. So, and so whoever's there, they're free to eat as much as they want and can have, and we serve that every night.
That's amazing. Are there services for people that might be in there, in the center? Is there anyone, I know that we've talked about, because I'm down there nightly as well, so I see everything going on, and I'm talking with the people, and what I'm noticing is certain people have certain needs. So I see Elliott services, I see some help on brochures. I see something from the city of Malden offering some addiction services. So have we figured out maybe if we're going to do maybe a night of services for folks, maybe Wednesday night from 8 to 10, so-and-so is going to maybe be there, so folks might be able to talk about housing or talk about a food bank or talk about other shelters or where else they could go. Have we looked into that at all?
Oh yes, very much so. And as you said, if someone were to come in, when they come in at the sign-up table, there's all kinds of resources that we're actually building on. It's a new effort, and so we're still learning who to connect to and when, and who's the best person to connect to. But just today, I was on the telephone with HUD representatives, and they've sent me information and some housing for those that might be available to get housing through them. We have information from Elliott. We have lists of all of the shelters and warming centers that are in the greater area. At this point, we're only able to offer it Monday through Friday, so on weekends they need to find some places. So we have resources that helps them find some of those places, and hopefully they're taking advantage of those on the weekends. And so we have housing referrals, and we're also in contact with public health, and they're talking about coming in on a night and offering free vaccinations. That's being set up hopefully sometime in the next week or two in February. We're also in contact with some health organizations. Elliott has already had some of their representatives there, and their client workers that have had face-to-face conversation with some individuals that we've already referred to them. So it's building, and one of the things that we want people to understand is that this is a short term. Our goal is that they don't have to be there. And the only way we can do that is by providing the next step or resources, or at least try to expedite some of the red tape or the difficulties that they face in getting that information. So we're going to be working on that and already looking into next year about what we might be able to have on a more regular basis for them.
That was my next question for the mayor. Have we looked at, or has anyone contacted you about potentially, I think we're calling this a pilot program this year, if I'm not mistaken, just to see how it all runs. But have we looked at maybe for future, are we going to continue it? Could it go longer? Could it go on the weekend? Has any of that been discussed, or where are we
Not
at
at
with
this
that?
point. I think we're still in the pilot phase, but I think for all intents and purposes, this is something that I think we want to continue. I think, I want to speak for the pastor. We want to thank you because for the first couple of nights, it dawned on us, wait a second, how do we get the people here? And now we have you going out and about the community to find the people and offer them this opportunity. And so I think that's also helped the cause.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So to that point, it was on night 3 I was meeting with Karen Hayes, and she was a very, very big piece of the Warming Center. So we were just discussing how the first 2 nights went, and the light bulb sort of went off in my head. I said, gee, how are folks getting there?
Right.
Because it is sort of centrally located, and for someone that may be homeless from Malden T, that could be a bit of a journey if they have bags.
Yeah, the
and
police
stuff.
were doing it when they could.
And that's what I heard.
That wasn't all the time.
And it couldn't be sustainable. So I know that the city had a vehicle that was purchased for human services a couple of years ago. So I had just mentioned, gee, what's going on with the bus? And so Karen thought it would be a great idea, and I as well. And I donated. I'm down there 5 nights a week, every night. So what I do is, it's been amazing because with my position as the addiction recovery resource specialist, it has given me the ability to get into the community, into a population where I want it to be anyway, just to reach out to folks and try to get them the resources they deserve and the resources they need. So I spend a lot of time at Malden train station, and I drive the city, and I'm meeting and talking to a lot of people, and I'm averaging 7 to 9 people a night bringing back to the center on the bus. So that's been amazing, and I'm able to, once I get back to the center, inform the folks at the center on who's coming in and maybe what condition they're in or what needs they may or may not have, and stuff like that. So that's been very helpful. It's actually been, it's been very gratifying.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing that we're doing, and I know that everything starts at the top, Mayor, and I I know you're going to say it,
Nope.
but I got to
Nope,
thank
nope.
you, because this all starts at the top. It really does,
Nope.
and it trickles down, and it's been an amazing, amazing
This has been a team effort.
community effort all the way around, and driving that bus has been absolutely amazing. I have people who call me. They have my cell phone, so I have regular pickups, 8:10, 8:20. I'm picking up at the library. I'm picking up at Dunkin' Donuts in Malden Square, and I'm picking up at Malden train station and Linden bus stop.
Yeah.
So I just go back and forth. I do it for a couple of hours. That's what I can give. And the Malden police have been great, because from what I understand, anyone they may see in the later hours,
That's right.
they bring back as well.
Yeah, but from my vantage point, it's all about Pastor Whetstone, his wife Ellen, and the members of the church, because this is one that one would have understood if they said, well, you know, I don't want to, create any liability issues. I'm not sure about security, just all the logistics, but he was all in, once the idea was raised. So to me, that's where a lot of the credit goes.
Thank you. I'm not in it for the credit, that's for sure. But we do have a congregation that cares, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
I was thinking as you were talking, there were several things. You're right, that what people might not know is that it's actually 1 mile from Malden Center T to the church. And that's a long walk for someone in the cold.
That's right.
And though we are within a block of like 4 different bus stops, we also know that there's less bus at night, and then not everybody's comfortable doing that. And so the van has been a magnificent addition to it.
Yeah, people are very appreciative of
Yeah.
that van.
Right.
You know what else has been special for me is just stepping back and seeing everybody in one room.
Yeah.
I've been able to get to know some of the people by name. We've shared each other's stories, and I don't know if that would have happened without this concept.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And as I shared with the city council, that one of the things that this is doing is it's humanizing people.
Yeah.
It's helping them to hear those stories. And some of the and one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking, Paul, is that people need to understand that we're a non-search place, though they're not allowed to bring any contraband in, and they are wanded for any kind of needles or any kind of weapons.
Could you explain wanded if someone doesn't
Oh, that's
know
right.
what
That's
that
a
means?
metal detector that similar
For
to what,
safety.
yeah, for safety
Gotcha.
purposes. But
Yep.
we take people who are actively in addiction, or even if they are high or intoxicated when they come. That's the persons we want to be safe. They're welcome. We don't have any, and they can come anytime during the time that we're open, which is 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So they're welcome to come anytime during that period of time, which is a little different than a shelter. Shelters, typically you have to be in there at a certain time, and
That's
then it's
right.
locked. We're not. We're open all night long. So we actually average probably 2 to 3 that come in anywhere between 11 and 3 a.m. That might stroll in. But the key comes back to that they're humanized, they're people, and then we recognize their story, and the story helps us to help them get the help they need, and
Yeah, I think
that's the important.
The other night I was playing Name That Tune with a couple
Yeah.
people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been great for me personally.
Yeah.
Forget mayor, just to get to know some of the
Yeah.
people that you otherwise probably wouldn't.
You guys, you nailed it, because not everybody comes back with me. So there are people who I do approach who they're not ready. They don't trust. They are happy where they're at, and I'm okay with that. We meet people where they're at, and I just say, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll check on you tomorrow. And you also mentioned substance abuse. Let's not forget, so a lot of the homeless that we deal with, there's mental health, there's substance abuse. Whatever the circumstance may be that brought someone to that point, it's okay. We're here to get you warm and to put some food in your belly. And I think you said it best. Malden has never done this. This is the first time ever, and I'm so proud to be a part of that. I think it's absolutely amazing. And as I was at Malden T, a gentleman said to me, so he was intoxicated, and he was on the ground. I found him under the bridge. So I got off, and I was sitting with him, and I was telling him he's my friend. I kept saying, you're my friend. I want to become friends with you. And he said to me, no. He said, down here, we're family. He says, we're not friends. You have to get in and be family. So now they consider me family. So now it's been amazing for me. I can walk over to the station and sit down, and just, the mayor said it best. You take off whatever you're wearing, like for your position, and you just become one, and you have a conversation. So the beauty with my position and what I do by helping people that struggle with substance use disorder, 3 people so far in the past 4 weeks have approached me off-site from the station that are homeless that asked me if I could get them into detox.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
There you go.
it is.
So it's working.
It is.
Like, this is working. It's just, I thank you to the both of you.
And we had, if I could, just one
Yeah,
other story
please,
that
go.
really blew me away,
Go.
Pastor, was one person, just by being there, decided he wanted to pick up a career.
Yep.
And is now, I think, taking the test to become a real estate agent.
Yep.
And again, I don't know if he would have been doing that if it wasn't for that surrounding,
Right.
for that project.
And we have 3 people that are alive today because of the
Right.
center.
That's right.
We had one that had overdosed, and we were able to administer Narcan and save that young man's life. There was another that we didn't have to administer the Narcan, but the reality is that we were able to get him the help he needed immediately. And then there's another that had some severe infection, and we were able to find some rudimentary treatment and encourage him to go where they want to go. And then when you think about that, who knows beyond that? With some of the frigid nights that we've had, now they have a warm place, and they're able to wake up in the morning and know that they've got some rest and some food and nourishment. And then when they leave, they also get nourishment, because we have bags that we give them. We also have clothing available to them.
right.
So some now have thermal underwear that never had thermal underwear. They have warmer coats. We have socks that we give them. We have personal care packages that they're able to take. So these are all available to them as well, free of charge when they leave, and we make sure that they have opportunity to get some of those things.
And a couple things, as we talk and sit here, I start thinking of things that we're doing. And the one eye-opening thing for me that I've never done before is I'm seeing things, I say, through a different lens.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing, especially at Malden train station, is, I would drive by there, 52 years old. I've driven by there for the past 40 years, and I don't think twice. Now that I'm over there, the homeless are in plain sight. They're behind certain areas. I look at things differently now. I'm looking and I'm seeing more than I was seeing. I'm not so tunnel vision, and you said it best, like, we're meeting people where they're at, and it's incredible, and they're feeling it. And the last person you talked about that received help from the center, the gentleman with the problem on his legs because of the cold, if he wasn't coming to the center, we don't know what might have happened. And what led to us recognizing him was he was getting on the bus. On night number 2, I saw him 2 nights in a row, and it was snowy out. It was icy, and he was getting on the bus, and the shoes he was wearing were not the right size. They were 4 sizes too small, so half of his shoes were hanging out in the slush. So we took a bit of we just gathered up a few dollars, and we bought him a pair of shoes. And when we did that, there happened to be a nurse on site, and we gave him those shoes, so he was unwrapping what he had on. And, we kind of saw the medical attention that he needed.
Right.
And if he wasn't coming to the center,
Would have never been
he
found.
wouldn't have received that medical assistance, and we don't know what might have happened to that person. So
Right.
that's an amazing story.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
When you said that, it brought me right back. That was last week.
Right.
Yeah, little does he know, one of them tomorrow night is celebrating a birthday, so
Yeah.
Bob Knox, our Public Works Director, is bringing in a little surprise.
wonderful.
Yeah, to help
Yeah.
him celebrate. He doesn't know it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not watching right now.
And getting back to the community, Paul, too, the community support, this is an entire volunteer situation. There's no paid employees in the center. I serve as director, which the church has encouraged me and has allowed me to do, but no one's getting paid. And so there's never too many volunteers. I said I had 101. 201 would be great, because there are shifts that people need to cover. And through the night, we do have to have volunteer on staff. We do provide all the training they need.
So, Pastor, to that point, I have a few minutes left, and what I'd like
Yeah.
you to do, talking about the volunteers, tell us where the needs are at most for the center, so the viewers can hear what we need, and then tell us if anyone wants to donate anything, how can they do so, or where would they go?
Right. Well, real quick, as far as volunteering is concerned, there are several things you can do. You can be a kitchen helper. You can go with transportation to travel around. And then the probably one of the most critical is the shift working, which is that you become a staff member that's on staff during the night to be there with the guests to make sure that that they're safe and that everything's the way it should be. As I mentioned, we do provide training for everyone and walk them through that so that they know what their responsibilities are. And we've broken it down into 2 shifts. There's an 8 to 1, and there's a 1 to 6.
1 a.m. to, okay.
1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Now, if there's some night owls out there, that's the one that we struggle the most to make sure that it's covered. And we have to have a minimum of 2 people that are on staff at all times, and in order to keep the center open. And so far, we've been able to do that, but it's been somewhat of a challenge. There's also other ways you can help. There's also donating items. We've talked about the items that we have, the clothing, we're receiving those. If someone wants to do some of the care packages or give us some food items, they're welcome to do that.
Who do they contact?
The best contact would be to call the church. It's at 781-324-4230.
That's the Church of the Nazarene.
Right,
Repeat
Church of
that?
the Nazarene, 781-324-4230. And then if no one answers, just leave us a message and then we'll get back to you. Another way is if you find us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Malden Nazarene, we have a link to where you can actually sign up to be a volunteer. And then we make contact with you to find out what you might be interested in doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is there any last words, a couple of seconds from either one of you, maybe 10 or 15 seconds that you'd like to end with? Is there anything?
Well, the one last thing I might mention is that we were very fortunate to get some grant money to start off, but there are costs associated with this. Like we do get donations of food, but most of the food we have to end up purchasing, or there's extra things that we have to get, supplies and such. And if anybody's willing to donate, there is a tax deductible because it's under the umbrella of the Church of the Nazarene. So if they go to maldennaz.com, and that's Malden Nazarene, MALDENNAZARENE.com, then click on Giving, they'll find the Warming Center there, and they're welcome to give a monetary donation as well, and that would be very helpful right now.
Sir, I want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
Mayor.
Thank you.
And as always, again, if anyone out there wants to help, donate, volunteer, you can also go to Malden Overcoming Addiction's Facebook page. We post everything about the Warming Center. You could see the link. You can click on the link. That's how you would get involved. There'll be another volunteer training coming up. And as always, if you're looking or struggling and need help, you can get us on Facebook, Twitter at Malden Overcomes, Instagram at Malden Overcomes, or you can simply email us at MaldenOvercomingAddiction@gmail.com. I am Paul Hammersley, and you can reach me at 781-838-2203. And until next month, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Thanks.